We are live on two. And here I am.
Okay.
And no one has anything to say. Hello.
Nobody's saying anything. It's like, oh, okay, well, whatever day the hell this is.
All right, well, wait a minute. I got something that'll cheer you up. Hang on.
Oh, no. This is bad. This could be bad.
Uh-oh. You lay down.
Oh, that's good.
This is-
yeah, that is good.
This is
I
for
like that.
this is for days I just don't have time to do any makeup, lipstick.
That, I love it.
So
Yeah, okay, that's the best.
okay, I can't breathe. If I pass out, call 911.
Oh my God,
That's it.
that is good. That is really, really good.
Give me some sugar, baby.
Really. Well, I discovered something really horrific the other day when I went to the grocery store and came back. I thought it was bleeding. It scared me because I thought, oh my God, I'm bleeding. What happened? It was lipstick. It's just a habit. You put lipstick on before you go, and my lips get kind of chapped at this time of the year, and it was just a habit.
And I bet you horrified.
Oh my God, what's happened?
And I bet you horrified everybody.
No, I horrified myself. You couldn't see it through the mask. It was only when I took it off, and when I took it off, it was like, oh my God, I'm bleeding.
Well, let me tell you something about these masks. I'm impressed at what they do. I know they don't do enough, but they do a lot, because I went to the Dollar Tree. You know, we were talking about it a while ago on Friday to get Easter eggs for the grandkids. And what I had on, all my masks are black, and when I got back in the car, it was coated in yellow from the pollen. Just walking from the car, going through the store, and going back to the store, the car. I was like, oh my God, no wonder I'm dying, from
Well, I
allergies.
noticed that on the truck. It's just covered in it, or the actual front, just covered. I mean, every time I walk outside and walk back in, I'm just bringing all that stuff inside.
Oh crap, you can see that on the, I just realized something. I have to take this off the screen because I'm videotaping it.
It's a lesson learned. Just another thing we're learning.
Oh my God, I should not be around equipment today. I'm not driving. I'm not going to walk outside.
She does not operate, major equipment.
It's
or
Monday.
machinery.
Well,
Monday.
I actually edited a complete book this morning, and I'm working on 2 other books for other friends and stuff. And I know it's just an excuse so I don't have to write. I do have a title for my book now, though. You want to hear the title?
Okay.
It's I'm No Angel, but I've Met the Devil.
Ooh. Everybody go. Ooh.
Ooh, spooky.
Okay.
So we're interviewing, who are we interviewing today?
Gail
Gail.
Hudson.
Gail, our lovely Gail. Okay, so Gail is the whole reason I'm here today. So if you don't like me, blame her. Throw her under the bus.
It's all Gail's fault anyway, so we're just going to blame Gail.
No, people just have to understand. They just can't take anything personal. You're all about fun and truth, but it's all from the heart. So.
Yeah, you're all just toys for me to play with. Wait, I'm gonna show you my hat. This is my gypsy hat.
Nice hat.
You wanna touch my feather?
No. No.
It's good luck. It's good luck to rub a gypsy feather.
Okay, well, okay.
And if you
Okay.
so, introduce her.
Gail Hudson, how did you get into your profession?
Wait a minute. Tell her how
What
you
is
know
your
her.
profession?
Tell everybody how you know her.
How do I know her? Okay, let me think. I met Gail through it had to have been back when the pub was called Churchill's.
Yeah, Churchill.
Ah.
But I mean, I knew of Gail because
Christine
of
was there.
psychic fairs and stuff like that. But gosh, I didn't really get to know Gail until this, really.
Yeah.
So I've known Gail longer than you have.
Never really had a chance to talk. We were always busy. I mean, we were always busy. There wasn't a lot of time to just sit around and talk about stuff. I mean, we were fortunate in the fact that we always had clients lined up.
Yep, something to do somewhere. There was
Yeah,
always something
always.
going on somewhere that you can get involved with
Yeah.
to support and help people. Yeah.
Well, that's
So
not to go off the deep end here, but I just want to make a comment, is that one of the things I am finally realizing after years and years of being on the outskirts of the metaphysical community is that everybody knows everybody, but not everybody knows everybody, you know? So, and that was something I assumed for years, that everybody was like great friends and y'all had slumber parties and, you know, had foosball drink games and, you know, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But
no,
Yeah,
that's not that.
I get a lot of people come up to me when I go to events and say, I know you on Facebook. And sometimes I recognize them, sometimes I don't, because not everybody's putting a picture of them the way they look now. You know, it's some years ago, or, you know, or they colored their hair differently or something like that. So, but yeah, I think a lot of us, I mean, I do know a lot of people personally in the spiritual metaphysical world. And finally being able to get really to know Elizabeth more through what we do here, and Deborah through, the women's retreats that I used to do is where we met. And so...
that was a hoot. We need to do that again. We're going to do that with the Spiritual Neighborhood Group. We're going to do a retreat or more.
Yeah, we had a blast. We had a lot of food, a lot of laughs and some cries, and we had fun. It was a lot of fun.
I'm going to put Elizabeth's underwear in the freezer when we do that.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
So, well, let me introduce.
I'm going to have to get Squeaker out, I can tell.
Just shove your
so,
hand up my butt and I'll be your puppet.
Seriously, Gail, how did you get into this? You know, we were talking about this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get into the metaphysical? How did all this start for you?
Well, I've had abilities since as far back as I can remember. I mean, I just didn't know what it was because it wasn't talked about back in the 60s and the 70s. And I'm aging myself now. But I had lots of experiences. I knew things I didn't know how I knew them. I would dream things sometimes, not that often, but then that would happen. I was always hearing things that I didn't understand. Like I would hear my name. I remember one time, the most significant time that something happened to me was when I was about 12 years old, and I was sitting in my bedroom window, looking out the window, and listening to my favorite 45, Sonny and Cher. I got you, babe. And I was, that was my favorite record. I played it over and over and over and over. The thing, I don't know, I probably wore it out. I saw the teenage boy across the street come out of his house, and I heard in my head, he's going to back out of your driveway and hit your daddy's car.
Oh, no.
And he backed out of the driveway and hit my dad's car.
Oh my God.
And I was like, that was freaky. I was like, how did I know that? You know, and those were the kind of things that kept happening. But then, I had some things happen to me as a child that were pretty intense. I won't go into it because it'll be in my book, but those things when I became an adult, I started to feel disconnected to reality, disconnected to life. I kept thinking to myself, I'm not the same as other people. What am I doing here? Why am I here? I didn't want to be here. And I had to face some of the things from my childhood life. And through doing that, I was come across books like Betty Eddy. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of her, Embraced by the Light. John Edwards, Lisa Williams. Shirley MacLaine was the first one. Out on a Limb. Do y'all remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. That was a great book.
I love her too.
And those things got me interested. And I started reading more books and reading more books and reading more books. And it's what kept me going. It was what kept me from feeling disconnected to the world. Because like, there's other people out there like me. And I met Lisa Williams in person when she came to Dallas. That was amazing. I went to James Van Prague's workshop. But those were all far away, and I needed something here. And so I started going to events in Dallas. This is where I met Kim St. Andre. She was my first real mentor, because at that time I thought, I'm going to be a psychic medium. I'm going to help people through psychic mediumship. But it wasn't what I was going to do. Even though I can do it, it's not what my passion is. My passion is healing. And through finding out, through the mediumship work that I was doing, I came across Reiki. And that became my real passion, even though there's other things like theta and, just a lot of different energy techniques out there. Reiki always resonated with me. It always felt like who I was. And I used that to not only help myself heal from past issues, but, things that come up in my daily life now, which they still do. We always will go through things in our life. It's not something that you fix and then you never have to deal with anything again. But through doing my Reiki and with a lot of people, I met Sandra Larson, who is an animal communicator, and I took her workshops and started learning how to communicate with animals. And then through that, it even raised my energy even higher, and my connection to animals became more intense, and my passion for helping animals became very, very strongly for me. And so I just, for me, it took me a while to own that. I mean, for a long time I say, no, I'm not a healer, I'm a psychic medium. Well, we both know, or we all know, that they're both healing. It's not one or the other. It's everything and anything, like we said in our description, is anything you do to help somebody else is a healer. And so, I finally own that I am a healer. And I'm still finding my way. What is it that I'm here to do? I know it's leadership, and how and what way. And so that's where I'm seeking that right now is, and I think this group is helping me that way, in finding out, how to help others and teaching them what I went through and what helped me to move along in this world through a lot of difficult times, because my family did not understand my passion for this. It took a long time for my family to see this was who I was and even get close to accepting that. And it's still hard for a couple of my family members to even see me as that person. But I had to really own it and say, okay, how do I work those together? And it was by me respecting who I was and being who I was, but also honoring and respecting who they were, and what I should be doing and not doing in their presence to keep them from feeling uncomfortable, but still honoring myself. So those are things that I think we all go through. It doesn't matter what you do. So if you ask me who I am, this Thursday, my husband and I will celebrate 32 years of marriage. So we've been married 32. So I am a wife. I am a mother of two. I'm a grandmother of two grandsons. I love my family dearly. I'm very passionate and compassionate with that. But my healing is really something that I put close to that, dear to my heart. So,
wow. Wow. That's a lot to absorb.
And your
did I go
energy.
too fast?
No, but your energy
No.
is so intense that I actually have to really focus to stay grounded when I'm listening to you, because it just makes me want to jump out of my body and just kind of soar, above the plains, because I can feel the passion and the intensity that's going on with you. And, and it's like two kids that are hyperactive. You put them in the same room and they just feed off each other. It's the same way with me. If I get around people that are really spiritually, active, it just stimulates me even more. I have a hard time staying grounded anyway. So that's how I know you're sincere. That's how I know how passionate you are. That's how intensely devoted that you are to this, because I can feel it. Even through this stupid computer, I can feel it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's no question on that. And what we were talking about earlier was about Gail always being busy, and she always had somebody at her table. There was, hardly any time at all that there was a lag time. So one of the major things we have talked about is we really didn't get the opportunity to know each other because, of course, I had my mom to take care of. So when I finished, I had to go home. I mean, it was like very rarely did I ever get to hang out and just either sit there and have a beer or a drink or whatever and just chit chat. It was okay. I'm here. Let's do our job and then go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was once a month.
Yes. And I remember there'd been a couple of times that I'd walk by your table and you'd stop me and give me a message. But the one that stuck out the most to me, you stopped me and you said, Gail,
got milk on the way home. Don't forget the bread. Just letting you know in advance. Sorry. I'm sorry. I've been in too long.
I bet she's sleeping with that sock puppet. I bet she's sleeping with it.
Yes, that's what a psychic medium can do. Embarrass your own self. You too can do this. Okay.
But you said, you stopped me and you said, Gail, your team wants me to tell you that you're going to get everything you ask for. You're going to get everything you want. It's coming. Everything you've asked for is coming. And that's been, I don't know, 4 years ago? And I don't remember how long ago that was because it's been a couple of years since Kim's done the psychic nights.
Yeah.
And we know, and we know that sometimes these messages we get are not for now, or it could be 6 months, it could be 6 years. Right. So I'm still waiting on everything I asked for.
Could you be a little more specific, Elizabeth? Seriously, can we get a few more details out of this? We need a timeline.
Well, now we know that the beach house is there, and we know that that's where your passion lies, is in that place. And I think one of the things that we're learning is, I don't want this to be my retirement home. This is not what I want to look at, day in and day out. I realize that.
Yeah.
So my thoughts are kind of like with yours. We need to decide where it is we really either choose to live or choose to be, or what is it we really want to see. And there's no reason to put it off. We're looking at it from that perspective now. As this is not what we want to see, then we need to change it. What is going to raise the vibration? And I think with you, Gail, that is so important to your soul. It's important to your community. It's important to the people that you work with. And sometimes, like you said, we get messages that are way in advance. It's just way in advance. Mm-hmm. And then we have no control over what happens in the meantime, Right.
Well, I have no control over where I'm going to be because my 9-year-old granddaughter's already told me that she's going to be an architect. She's going to go to Texas A&M. I'm going to have to move there with her. She's going to get married, and I'm going to have to take care of her children while she's designing beautiful homes for the homeless. So,
yes, absolutely. Please get her on board.
So I will just be taking care of babies.
Awesome. Well, let me ask you something, Gail. Did your kids show any of your gifts and talents? And how about your grandkids? Do they show any signs of your gifts and talents as well?
Well, my son, no. My son is 38. My daughter's 40. I can't even think of, how old is my daughter?
Okay, let's just leave it at that. Let's don't tell how old she really is.
And my daughter, because I had an experience years ago, and when I was sharing it with somebody, my daughter says, "Oh my gosh, I remember that," and I never even knew that. So I do think my daughter does, but she's not comfortable with it. So she doesn't delve into it at all. And what's ironic is that my son-in-law sees auras, and he can tell you if it's blue, if it's green, or whatever, but does nothing with it. And so a lot of us do have these amazing gifts. And just do anything. It's up to you to choose. I mean, I've gone on that roller coaster ride of going. Sometimes it's so intense when doing this work. It is about healing ourselves. And so when you get to that point where you're like, oh, this is too much. I can't get up here. I'm not going to be able to do that. And, you know, we finally do, because you keep going, and then it's smooth sailing again. So for some of us, you know, we're able to get past that. And others were just like, no, I'm just happy doing what I'm doing, and I don't need to be a part of that. So I don't know if it doesn't scare him. I know he sees spirits because it's flipped out one time. We were in San Antonio, and we went to I can't remember that hotel right next to the Alamo, but we walked in, and he like froze and couldn't hardly talk, and said, "Oh, there's dead people laying on the floor here." And he walked into the pub, ordered a shot of whiskey, and sat down, and you know, that's when I found out. That's when I knew. But ironically, somebody told me my daughter is in this lifetime the first time she's been in my energy, but my son-in-law has been in my life in previous lives. So it's
Oh, wow.
yeah. I found that very. I was like, what? You know, my son-in-law's a wonderful man. I love him. He's a good husband and a good father. And so yeah, but interesting. I probably get along better with him than my daughter. But I love my daughter dearly, and I think my grandsons have the abilities. But again, like I think sometimes when you have parents that don't believe this and don't want to have nothing to do with it, they are gonna push it down, and that's just, you know, the way it is. And then you have to decide when you become of age whether or not you want to do those things, if you want to allow that. I have a niece that she's 14, got all the senses. She sees spirits, she can touch spirits, she can hear spirits, she's got it all. And so, you know, yes, it runs in the family.
But you know, I think sometimes parents have a hard time dealing with children and their gifts because, you know, I think anytime that we have children, we always have this idea of who we want them to be and what kind of life we want them to have. I can remember when I was really young, because we were still in Arkansas, so this is before I was 10. My mother, for whatever reason, would sit down a couple of times and hold up playing cards, you know, and say, "What card am I holding?" And I was getting it right, you know, every time. And after 3 or 4 times of that, she quit doing it. And I think, you know, we've never really talked about it. I'm going to go ask her when we hang up. And I don't know if it freaked her out or she just didn't know what else to do with it or what. But my grandmother was very gifted. And I think if I'd gotten to stay with her longer, that I would have had a shorter journey of acceptance, maybe. Maybe not, because the rest of the family thought my grandmother was crazy, you know, because of her gifts. And so, you know, I think it's just hard to meet and mesh when you have the personalities and the emotions all tied up, you know, that type of thing. Because if I just meet you and we talk and you tell me something I don't like, I just reject it, you know. There's no expectation, there's no commitment. But with family members, you know, there's all those other stuff tied up with it as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Especially if you have a bunch of siblings, because it can get really one-sided at times. You know, if you've got like 5 or 6, I mean, you can have 3 that say yeah, and, you know, 2 that say no, or whatever. It can be difficult. Well, let me ask you this. Excuse me. So what would you tell your 7-year-old? What advice would you give your 7-year-old you on what to do from your life experiences? What would you tell that 7-year-old to do?
You're asking me?
It's your interview.
I thought you were asking Deborah because she was talking about. But if I could go back, I would tell my 7-year-old that they got this, that it's okay, they're safe, because I've always been safe, you know.
Right.
But that I have the power. I'm okay. I'm in control. I can take control, and I can be safe, you know. And that's the thing that I think a lot of kids don't understand, because they look at others, especially their parents, as giving them that safety and that comfort. And sometimes that's not, you know, for me, that wasn't available to me. My parents were disconnected emotionally, so I felt alone a lot of times. So I think it would be, you know, and when I was older, I did go back to my child and comfort her and let her know she was safe, and I would protect her always, because she's still a part of who I am today. And I honor that. So, you know, so that 7-year-old knows now that she's safe.
Right. Now, it's interesting because every time I ask people that, the majority of people that I'm talking to, especially from the metaphysical community, go back and say she's safe now, or he's safe now, or I'm watching over him now, or he knows it's really okay. So the point to people that are watching is to, you've got plenty of time on your hands right now, and trying to get that 7-year-old you to feel safe right now is really what's going to help you later on when this is over, or dealing with what we're dealing with right now. In many ways, it is kind of a frightening time. It's trying to. So, what do you do to stay grounded during this point in time? Is it because you go outside and you ride your bicycle and you're in the country, and is that really what you feel is helping you out with this right now to stay sane?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I go outside and just grab the tree and hug it, or just put my feet in the grass barefoot. I'm not one to walk around barefooted. I don't like dirty feet. That's just who I am. But there are days that I know I have to put my feet in the dirt or the grass and get grounded. And the sun is so energetically, it helps me to raise my vibration when I go out in that sun and connect. And I can get close to that energy by closing my eyes and allowing that sun to come down on me. If it's raining, I sometimes play music. Oh, I dance. You should. My husband says, "Babe, I've never seen anybody have moves like that. It's white." He thinks I can just. He's just never seen a white girl dance like that before. But anyway, I love to dance.
Yeah.
And so I'll put on some Van Morrison or whatever, and I'll just dance all through the house. That raises the vibration. It also grounds me. I love to sing. I don't do it online or in public where people can see me do that, but it's just for me.
Hey, we should do a dance party one day.
It makes you happy, right? I mean, that's the whole point. It makes you happy.
We should do that, though. We should do a dance party one day when we are all just
I don't think so.
when we are all at our limit, seriously, and we're all in one of. If all three of us get on here, I'm making you a promise. All three of us get on here one day, and we're all bitchy. We're doing a dance party. Seriously.
Well, let's do the puppet party first.
Well,
we'll do the puppet party first.
We'll do the dancing at happy hour. How about that?
Okay.
We had a few steps.
I want to see you dance. I'll dance with you. I got the moves.
Well, I used to dance. I used to dance a lot, especially in my 40s. I used to dance a lot. Now, this is about Gail. It's not about me. So let me ask you, what advice would you give to people that are getting into metaphysics? What would your suggestion be? And after that, how do people get in touch with you?
Well, what I've learned, because I would just go to anything, and what I learned is sometimes your energy doesn't belong in certain places. It doesn't mean that other energies are bad, it's just different. And so for me, I always tell people, when you go somewhere, try to connect to that energy. How does that energy feel for you? If you feel uncomfortable, if you don't agree with, because what I found is people will take what you say as gospel because they think in a higher position because you're where you're at. You have got to discern what is right for you and what is not right for you. So, I've had people ask me, well, I went to a meetup and I'm not sure I believed in that, or when I left, I felt icky or something. Okay, well, ask yourself, what is it, that you're feeling that? And maybe that's not where you need to go. Maybe you need to trust your own instinct and what's right for you and check some others out. Look at reviews, look at what they're doing, what they're discussing. Is that a topic that you want to discuss? Because, see, for me, one of the things I haven't talked about is I've crossed spirits many times, and animals. It's a big passion for me, is crossing spirits. But not everybody in this field feels comfortable about crossing spirits. I know many people that are psychic mediums. That's just not something they're comfortable doing, or they're not comfortable going out and doing paranormal investigations. So find out what they're doing. Is it something you're interested in, and how does it feel for you? And if it doesn't feel right, leave. Don't stay in a place that you don't feel comfortable. So, and ask other people. If you know people in that group, ask them about it. So, but what I think what's real important is find out what is your real passion, and then that's where you need to go, not just to anything. So I hope that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
so,
how do people get in touch with you, Gail?
well, they can get in touch with me on Facebook for right now. I have taken off. I've done a little bit of work on and off the past couple of years, but I have kind of taken a break from it. So now I'm coming back again. I'm going to be putting my website up soon, but until then, they can get on Facebook and look for me, Gail Hudson, or on the Spiritual Neighborhood page. They can find, they can come to my page and click message and message me, and I'll answer it.
Worst case scenario, they can email spiritualneighborhood@gmail, and we'll forward the email to Gail. So,
And
if you're
speaking of which, people who have questions for us or for people that want to suggest that we interview, get in touch with us at spiritualneighborhood@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Today.
And
don't forget to like our subscription. Don't forget to go to our YouTube page. Be sure and hit subscribe and hit like if you would. We're just trying to get to 100 people so that we can have more options. It makes things, it'll totally change how we're doing stuff. If you will do that for us, we would really appreciate it.
And we're not doing this for us. We're doing this to help everyone that is a part of this community by choice because, well, gosh, get out of my mouth. So, because what we want to do...
Come on here.
I just hit myself in the eye. What we want to do is if you have a gift, we want you to come on this, what do we call this, a show, reality TV? I don't know. A Zoom movie? I don't know. We want you to come on and talk about yourself. Come and
It's
share.
the Zoom effect, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So we want you to come on and share who you are. And, and if you haven't read the notes on our page, let me clarify what holistic healer is. Anyone who has something that they do for other people that makes their life better, healthier, or happier. So if you make people laugh, if you have art, if you're able to help people heal through their bodies, through their mind, through their spirits, their finances, anything, if you, in my opinion, and I don't care what the other ladies think, this is my opinion, if you make beautiful furniture out of stacks of sticks, then you have a gift because that makes somebody joyful when they buy that. Come and share that.
Oh, yeah. Anything that's going to bring joy to someone, that's what's important. And artists, musicians, to me, that's of a spiritual nature. Did either of you see, what is his name? Andrea Bocelli?
Yeah, Botticelli.
Yeah, did y'all see his performance of Amazing Grace? Oh my God.
He'll be on next week. He'll be on with us next week.
I wish. Oh, gee, I wish. That was just amazing. It was so striking. So what I did for myself yesterday, I had to mail a letter. And so I got out and I went and did that. And the wind was blowing and it was all cloudy and stuff. So what I did was I just sat out in the automobile with the window down and I watched that. So I sat outside in the truck for about an hour and a half, just letting the wind come through and listening to the cars go by, and the birds were really singing. I mean, loud. They were so loud yesterday. And I was watching just beautiful things. Anything that was on that I could watch on my phone, that's what I watched. And when I did actually go back inside, I felt like I'd been driving. I felt like I'd been on this trip, And when I came back inside, it was like, oh, wow, I feel like I've gone somewhere. I actually feel like I've been on an adventure, and it was just a totally different thing, totally different feel. So maybe that's what we need to do. Just sometimes just get in the car, drive around the block, drive around the neighborhood, come back, sit in your car, especially on days like today when the sun is just, it's so beautiful outside. The temperature is so inviting.
We do that here. We don't do it every day, but we try to. Either Mother and I go out for a drive, or Scott and I do, or sometimes if I'm in a pissy mood, I'll go by myself. Which
is probably better.
But yeah, but what is interesting to me is that we're stuck in this house together. All of us are here. We sit in the same room a lot of times, not all the time. We all have our quiet time away. Scott and I are both very internalized, so we need a lot of time just by ourselves. But we have our best conversations in the car. Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Always.
And that's one of the things that Scott and I have always loved. He and I can literally drive 12 hours on vacation and never turn the radio on, you know?
Yeah.
Because
Just
it's
communication.
it's so great. But, I have to tell this story about Gail because I want people to start thinking about how they affect other people in ways that they can only dream about. I wasn't even friends with Gail on Facebook. I don't know how this even showed up in my Facebook feed. What was this, about 8 years ago, that retreat, Gail?
Yeah, 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, and this woman's retreat popped up on my Facebook page, and I've never been a person who's had a lot of female friends. I've worked in a male industry since I was 19. All my friends have been males. I just have, a very strong energy. I'm not interested in cooking and cleaning and sewing and stuff like that much. I now cook a lot, but not used to. And I'm like, I want to meet some women. I need some women companions, and I just signed up for this retreat, which is totally unheard of for me because I usually research the crap out of things and I look at who the speakers are to see if I do my due diligence and I make sure that they're great speakers and I'm going to get my money's worth. And I didn't even look to see where this was. I just signed up for it. I sent my money. I showed up,
Wow.
Seriously, just felt like it was the right thing to do. And what happened that weekend is that I did make some friends. Here, Gail and I are 8 years later, and I've crossed paths with other people. Carrie Glazer was there, and she and I now work for the same entertainment company. But what happened is that 3 of my gifts were crammed down my throat that weekend.
Oh, gee.
Literally. And I had to accept them and say, oh, because what my biggest problem has been rationalizing my gifts, logicking them, making sure that they make sense on paper. And I didn't get that opportunity that weekend. It was just, here it is, cram down your throat, accept it, deal with it, we love you. And it was life-changing, It really was. It was emotional, it was freeing, it was exciting, it was uncomfortable at times.
When it's uncomfortable, that means you're really moving forward. When it gets really uncomfortable, that means you're growing as well.
Well, I wasn't public. This is what made me finally start going public with my gifts. I've always been aware of my gifts. I've always embraced them privately and used them privately, and when people say, well, how do you know that? I'm like, oh, just a feeling, But
Yep, I get it.
it was like I felt like the Lady Liberty and finally had my torch. Da-da, here I am.
Freedom!
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So,
Excuse me, and it's okay.
yeah, it is. It was great, and I just, I've been trying to recreate that scenario, and I haven't been able to in 8 years. It sucks, but one day I will.
You will.
And I actually like women now. I didn't really have a lot of close women friends until then. And now I've been very fortunate to have deep relationships and, find out that they're just as painful as losing a husband,
Yeah.
when they leave or for whatever
it's
reason.
true.
It is.
I mean, just because they're, it doesn't matter who they are. If you're attached to a person from the heart, it's just as powerful as if it were part of your family. I mean, people that are connected to each other, I don't care who you're connected to. If you lose that person, that to me, that's like a death.
Well, to me, I get kind of militant in some of the things that I believe in and feel in and try to keep it low key. But to me, friendship is a word that's used too loosely. When I use the word friendship, what that really means is this is a marriage without sex, because it's that deep of a commitment. It's that deep of a relationship. We're not commingling a house. We're not commingling finances. We're not sleeping together. But I have that same deep commitment to you that I do in a marriage. And I have been very blessed that I found other women that felt the same way. And so those are the kind of relationships I look for,
Well, I have a lot of acquaintances.
Yeah.
But I have very few friendships.
I have a lot of annoying people in my life.
I don't. Well, I have one.
you.
Yes.
Bazinga! Well, you know,
That's a long time for that. Yes, yes, yes. Big
I love Elizabeth. I do love her. You know, Sharon told me I was going to love Elizabeth. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to love that bitch. No way. You were one of those annoying. You were one of those annoying people. I just find people in general annoying. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. Well, they can be. I mean, that is a true statement. Some people just can be annoying, but
And it's only.
I have, I'm really blessed because I have that. I have my mom's sense of humor gene, and I can which means I can embarrass myself.
Well, by annoying.
Much. I mean, I can embarrass myself because she did it to me all the time. Just all the time.
Well,
But I mean, that was important to us. You have, no matter what the crisis is,
you got to laugh.
you have to find something that will trigger your sense of humor, something that you can have pleasure in and enjoy, even if it's just, puzzles or something. Eventually, people are going to have their home so completely organized. What else is there to do? Well, let's work on the inside.
Well, come look at my house. It's there. But it was there before the quarantine. I'm a very organized person. But
Well, I'm not.
But by annoying, what I mean by annoying is that it's not that I don't like them. I like just about everybody. And what's really weird, this is why I was really good in the bail bond business, is that I could do business with criminals and find a place to relate to them. It's like, yeah, I would do that if I wasn't a better person or if I hadn't had this help. I can see why you feel that.
I can see their side. I can understand why some people do what they do because I don't live that life.
But
that's just their, and that's where the way they chose. We got to go.
Okay, just one quick. The reason they're annoying is because they can't see how great they are, and they are stuck in the moment, and they just want to slap all of their cheeks individually and drag them forward. That's why they annoy me.
Yeah. Well, it annoys me when when you see the person's potential and it's there, and all they have to do is just walk towards that, and they don't.
Yeah.
That really annoys me.
Yep. Yep. And so, Elizabeth, you're just going to have to get over yourself and move forward.
Okay. Well, there I am. Moving forward.
No.
Moving forward.
All right. We're trying to talk to Elizabeth tomorrow and hear her story and wear a new hat or something.
You will. Yeah. It's going to be, tomorrow will be wild. Yeah.
She's going to be naked and dance the hula.
I'll wear my Easter outfit tomorrow.
Oh, we should all wear robes tomorrow.
Yes, we should all be comfy. I'm going to wear my Easter outfit for tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Hallelujah.
Oh.
Okay, so house coats and whatever, huh?
All right, hang on. I'm going to turn us off.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
Thank you,
stuck.
guys.
All right. Bye, everybody.